The following is a production of cprundown.com. The views and opinions expressed by the host of this podcast are those of the individual and not of any affiliated companies. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Rundown on Fun, a weekly podcast covering the Cedar Fair Entertainment Company, the amusement industry, and the business of fun. Here are your hosts, Carsten Anderson, Evan Schultz, and Kyle Hood.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Rundown on Fun, a weekly podcast where we cover Cedar Fair, Cedar Point, and everything to do with fun. And notably missing from this week's episode is going to be Evan. So Justin actually lied to us right there.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we don't have an intro that just says "Welcome, Kyle and Carsten."
I know.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Evan decided to buy a super ultra mega platinum whatever pass to Hershey, since Wildcat is his favorite coaster. Yeah. And so he's currently again on his way to Hershey. I think this is like his third separate trip or something.
Because he went once with us, and then he went with his girlfriend, and then no. He went with
I think he went with his mom.
Went with his mom, and now he's going with his girlfriend.
Yeah, now he's going with his girlfriend.
And I believe the pass he bought was a king size pass.
Yeah, speaking of king size, let's just talk about the crazy news that we got from Cedar Fair like today. Like it was like news dump today. Everything, it was like Christmas, like a mini Christmas. But there was a mini Christmas for us Ohioans. Besides Kings Island's awesome announcement and obviously Cedar Point's announcement, we're getting a freaking Buc-ee's.
You are.
We're getting a Buc-ee's.
And if I'm not mistaken, it's in between Cedar Point and Kings Island, right? Like on the route.
It looks like it's like around Dayton area. So like you could possibly go to like Scene 75.
Yeah.
And then get a coaster and then go over and get some, brisket. I don't have to go to Kentucky anymore. It's going to be a lot closer than going to Kentucky, because it's not like on the outskirts of Kentucky. It's like you got to go in like a good hour or so into Kentucky to get there. So this is awesome. And I'm so excited.
Dayton's just a little south of Columbus. So I mean, it's not like you have to go almost out of the state either. I mean, it's a nice location.
So I cannot wait. I saw the proposal. There's supposed to be like 120 gas pumps. And if anybody doesn't know what Buc-ee's is, they've got really good food. And it's like almost like a Walmart grocery store per se. And they've got lots and lots of different flavors of beef jerky, and look them up on the website.
I know when I lived in Ohio, I lived in Northwest Ohio, so I would travel 75 that way a lot, and that's going to be a nice place to kind of stop off at. I know I have family in the Cincinnati area, so
love it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to going. My parents have already Google mapped it from their house, and it's going to be 2 hours and 2 minutes. So they're very excited.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. Well, anyway, let's jump into some awesome, cool coaster news. Cedar Fair definitely dropped a ton of new coasters and rides and everything. And Kyle, you want to tell us a little bit about what happened today?
Yeah, it seems like after Cedar Point's announcement last week, that today was kind of the rest of Cedar Fair announcement day for those who are getting a new attraction. And new stuff could still be announced for the parks that didn't announce anything today. But today we had Dorney Park, Kings Island, and Canada's Wonderland all announce new additions. And out of those 3 announcements, 2 were coasters. So we will start off with Dorney Park in Allentown, Pennsylvania, announcing Iron Menace, a B&M dive machine, a mini B&M dive machine.
I'm excited.
I am too.
I'm excited. Another like two new coasters. Like, come on, more credits.
Before we dive into the theme and the placement and what we think about it, let's just start off with some stats. So it is going to be a B&M dive coaster with a height of 152 feet. The angle of the first drop. This is important right here. Normally on these B&M dive machines, the gimmick is straight down, a 90-degree vertical drop.
Yep.
The angle of this first drop is going to be 95 degrees, so steeper than vertical. Very similar
I was going to say it's very similar to Maverick.
Yeah, I was going in the same spot. Very similar to Maverick. I don't know off the top of my head what that angle is, but I have to
It's
think
95.
Is it? Okay.
I'm like 99% sure. If
Yeah.
I'm wrong, Evan messaged the page.
Yeah. I thought it was somewhere around there too, so that seems right. So
Yeah.
that'll be really interesting, especially on a taller first drop than Maverick. I mean, this is a drop of 152 feet.
Right.
It's going to reach a top speed of 64 miles per hour, feature 4 inversions, an Immelman 180-degree turn, a 0G roll, a 360-degree inversion, and the world's first tilted dive loop.
I saw that. That looked really interesting.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be at a length of 2,169 feet, a ride time of approximately 90 seconds, feature 2 trains and 21 riders per train, which is 7 across instead of 8. Is Valraven's 8, correct?
Believe it's 8.
8.
And I think you can get up to 9, right?
Yes. Well, no, I think Sheikar at one of my home parks, I think that's 10 across. I think Griffin is as well.
I'm curious to see on if they have to have maybe more of a, I don't know, more of a thicker track or something to have bigger trains, or I don't know. But
yeah, maybe. I'm trying to figure out what Sheikra and Griffin are, because I know whatever they are, they're the same. Let's see. Here's a picture. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, they're both 10 across.
Okay. Oh, maybe they just got the deluxe model that have like cup holders on their trains.
Yeah. Maybe a little more room for each person.
Yeah.
Notably, these are going to feature the same vest-style restraints that are found on Gatekeeper and Valraven and Banshee and a bunch of these other new age B&M coasters. And that's kind of it for the stats right off the book. I mean, it looks like a little bit of a shorter ride, but it looks super fun. I mean, I've been watching POVs of this thing.
I haven't watched like a full POV of it per se, like on my computer. I watched it just on my phone. So I like to watch it on my computer and kind of like fully embrace what's kind of like going to happen and whatever. But I think this is great for the park. And then also I think like everyone's like, yeah, like it's super short and everything. Dive coasters, I don't know why, but dive coasters seem to have like their layout seems to be kind of short. But I mean, you're literally doing 4 different inversions. And so like you're literally dropping and then you're just going inversion. And then by the time you're like, whoa, what just happened? You're like at the brakes. So yeah, I'm excited.
It looks like a packed layout for sure. Another thing that seemed interesting to me was the lack of a mid-course and a second dive, which most of them feature.
Yeah.
What's the name of the other kind of smaller dive machine out in Texas? Is it Cliffhanger?
Dr. Diabolical.
Yeah, does that one have a mid-course? Because this kind of seems to be like the same kind of thing.
You know, I'm not too sure. I know that Six Flags Fiesta Texas, and it's actually like when they announced like the theme and like the colors and stuff, I was like, oh wow, it almost kind of like mimics, you know, the Dr. Diabolical kind of thing. But I'm curious, does it actually? I cannot tell you.
Yeah,
but I do know, like, if anybody is curious on like what we are talking about, you can go to Dorney Park's website and you can, you know, learn all about it, watch the POVs, kind of see like what it's going to do, where it's going to be placed at in the park and everything. Were you able to find out if that has a mid-course, Kyle?
I did not look at Dr. Diabolical's, but another kind of smaller B&M dive, Emperor, out in San Diego, is very similar stat-wise, and that does not feature a mid-course. I'm going to go ahead and say that none of the kind of smaller models do.
You want to talk a little bit about the theme? Because it's not just, you know...
Yeah, the teaser video is actually really cool. For anybody who knows geographically where this park is in the country, the Lehigh Valley, it was very popular for being kind of a steel city back in the day. Not the steel city of Pittsburgh, but that whole Lehigh Valley of Pennsylvania used to have a lot of steel mills in it. So I'll read the little kind of teaser campaign. Forge your own fate on Iron Menace, the Northeast's first dive coaster, firing up in 2024. This new ride at Dorney Park suspends riders 160 feet in the air before plummeting at a beyond vertical 95-degree drop. 4 mind-twisting inversions and speeds of up to 64 miles per hour leave riders of this drop coaster spellbound and burning for more. And then there's a little bit of a 2-paragraph backstory. So I'll read that real quick. If you're not interested in listening, just skip forward like 30 seconds. Backstory. The mystery behind the Menace. In the early 1900s, Scottish businessman Hiram S. McTavish opened a McTavish Steel Mill, a direct competitor to the Bethlehem Steel Company. Greed dictated McTavish's every move, and he was well known to prioritize profits above people. With an eye on maximizing output, McTavish created a massive hauler that he dubbed the Iron Menace, a device the steel industry had never seen. The rail transporter moved workers and ore at record volumes and dizzying speeds. Suddenly, the greedy steel baron mysteriously disappeared. No one knows how or where. Shortly after, McTavish Steel Mill closed. All that remains today are the mill's decrepit shell, rusty relics, and wild tales of the owner's whereabouts.
I think that's really, really cool backstory.
Yeah.
Like, if anybody fast forward to that, shame on you, because I mean, obviously you can read it, but it's cool. Like I like how they're going with the steel mill and kind of rustic and everything.
Yeah, kind of playing roots or playing homage to the roots that their city grew up with. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think obviously we know the general public loves Valraven at Cedar Point. I've seen a lot of people love like the dive coasters, where they exist and stuff and everything. So I just think this is going to fit really nicely in the park what was that part the ride that they took out.
It was a boomerang. I don't quite remember the name.
I can't remember. We need Evan's brain for this one.
Oh no, give me like 10 seconds.
Well, in the area that they used to have Stinger.
Yep, Stinger.
Oh, there it is. I was like, it's somewhere in my brain. And then it's also over there by the ride that came from Jugga Lake. That's
Possessed. It's their Intimate Impulse.
Yeah,
very similar to Wicked Twister.
I remember us walking around a boys trip. I think not last year, but the year before, and we were like, there was this giant spot of just nothing there. It was a ton of concrete. So this is going to fit there real nice.
Yeah,
I like it. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, this is a big win for Dorney Park because I mean it's a size. I mean, I know we've been saying, oh, this is the mini dive machine, but it's 152 feet. I mean, that's right. That's a pretty big coaster with 4 inversions. I mean, I'd be real happy if my home park was getting something like this.
Yep. No, yeah, it's definitely laid out really well, and yeah, so check it out on their website and everything. And I can't wait because I think I'm gonna have to possibly go to Dorney next year, and I mean, darn, I get to ride Demon Drop again. Anybody knows and is a Cedar Point fan, they know Demon Drop, and that's where Demon Drop was moved. So you get kind of Demon Drop and then Iron Menace. So,
all right. So announcement 1 out of 3, check. Moving on to number 2, a little bit closer to home, is Kings Island, who announced Camp Snoopy, which is going to be a new children's area. Anyone who's familiar with Kings Island knows that their kids area, Planet Snoopy, has won the Golden Ticket Award for Best Children's Area for the last 15 years or something crazy like that.
Yeah, it's been. I mean, that children's area is really nice.
Mm-hmm. And there was one kind of glaring, not like need, but just one area that just felt kind of dead. It was back by like Surf Dog and the Flyers, and there was a big kind of amphitheater, but not really back there.
Yep.
And I think there's a petting zoo back there, if I'm not mistaken. And
I don't know if they're taking that out or if that's going to be revamped or something.
I haven't seen it in any of the renderings, but anyway, they're adding to Planet Snoopy with a whole new area called Camp Snoopy. And let me just read the press release for Camp Snoopy.
Yep.
Attention campers, join Snoopy and the Beagle Scouts next year at Kings Island's new Camp Snoopy. Opening in 2024, the expansion of the park's award-winning Planet Snoopy Kids area will feature Snoopy's Soapbox Racers, a brand new family roller coaster that races both forward and backward in Beagle Scout Acres, an area where kids can run, crawl, play, or relax with the family in a shaded, comfortable space.
I mean, I can't fault the park for trying to go with something like really, family oriented,
Yeah, absolutely. So this is going to be the second Vekoma Family Boomerang coaster added to the States this year, with the other one going to Holiday World, which I'd be interested to see how that plays out, because they both kind of pull from the same market, and they're both kind of adding the same ride.
Right. And obviously, I mean, they can't just be like, they didn't see Holiday World's announcement on the first. They're like, oh crap, let's get Vekoma on the line right now and let's buy something. Can we buy that please now? No, like there's probably at least 6 or 7 months or more of planning to, do a new coaster. And obviously not just a new coaster, but the new land. There's going to be like a little play area for kids and stuff and everything that they can, go over there. There's going to be some grass, some like turf mounds and things like that, they said, and different footpaths and things, but
it looks
again,
like
go to the website and you can see everything that Kyle and I are talking about.
It looks like it's themed beautifully. I mean, it has this nice little like watchtower type thing.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of foliage back in there. It's like a nice wooded area, so it's not like it's just plopped right out in the sun.
It's like I didn't get to talk. I don't think I really talked about King's or Carowinds when I got to go see Aeronautica
Landing.
Yeah, that was very immersive and I literally felt like I was almost on like a runway where planes were gonna like take off and stuff. There was like a lot of aircraft lighting. There was watchtowers. There was a lookout tower. There was like seemed to be like crazy weather stations, and things like that. So if it's and like just looking at everything and looking at like the POVs of everything, it really looks like it's going to be really immersive. And we're just talking about like the Camp Snoopy aspect. The roller coaster itself, I think that looks really cool too. Plus, hey, another coaster for Ohio. Sign me up. And I mean,
honestly,
Kings Island 16th coaster,
Yeah, and honestly, I cannot remember the last time that Cedar Point and Kings Island both got a new coaster in the same year. I mean, has that ever happened before?
I'm sure it probably happened maybe in the Paramount days
when they were competitors.
But yeah, I'd have to think. I'd have to look at it. But yeah, I mean, but it's great, drive both people to different parks or whatever, and we've got Top Thrill 2 coming, and which is a huge thrill. Maybe next year. I know a lot of people are like, oh, really, we're getting like a small like little edition and a family coaster, and I'm like, hey, at least you're getting like a family coaster. Like you could be getting a new bench or something. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, so maybe next year, the park is going to do something huge in the vortex plot of land, or maybe over where Son of Beast Station was, where people are like mulling around, like
this
I don't know.
I have the same kind of mentality for this that I had with the boardwalk. Of this might not have been the addition that the coaster enthusiasts wanted, but this is the addition that the park needed.
Yeah. And you don't notice that the park really needs something until you like ride it and you're like, holy crap, that was good.
Yeah.
And
it does look like a couple of other rides are going to get rethemed to fit into this Camp Snoopy area. So it seems that Flying Ace Aerial Chase is going to get at least repainted. Maybe
again. I think it didn't just get repainted like a few years ago.
It did. So at least a new paint scheme. It looks like it has like a maroon colored track, or I'm sorry, like a maroon burgundy colored support and green track.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe they'll get a new name, but at least a new paint scheme from what we're seeing in the concept art.
Yeah. And obviously concept art is subject to change, but I mean, from everything that you see on the concept art, I mean, that's really cool. And if anybody doesn't know what like a family boomerang coaster is, pretty much it's like you launch, and obviously not like crazy speeds. I think you launch at what was it, 36 miles per hour, right?
Yeah, I'll read the description here when you're done talking.
Yeah. So you'll launch at 36 miles per hour, and you'll go, and then you'll reach like a height, since it's boomerang, so you go all the way up the tower. You'll do some stuff, and then you'll go up the tower, and the tower will be like 73 and a half feet tall, and then you'll pretty much go back the way that you came and stuff and everything. So I'm really excited that it's a Vekoma. And Evan and I have talked about like riding these new Vekomas and everything, and they're super smooth. They're super fun. We got to do Big Bear at Dollywood, and we were just over the moon with it. So a bigger isn't always better sometimes. Like this is going to be a really fun ride. I can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, I have a new age Vekoma in my backyard with Guardians, and it's super smooth. I mean, it's one of the smoothest rides I've ever been on. Yeah, Vekoma did the track work, and then Walt Disney Imagineering did everything else. But as far as the track, Vekoma did that.
So you want to give us some stats, Kyle?
Yeah, let me read the ride information. In 2024, Kings Island's new Camp Snoopy will feature the park's newest roller coaster, Snoopy's Soapbox Racers. It will be the amusement park's first family boomerang coaster that races riders both forward and backward on the same track. With the addition of Snoopy's Soapbox Racers, Kings Island will become the kids' coaster capital of the world, offering 5 different coaster experiences for future thrill seekers.
I mean, if I had kids, I'd be like, let's go to Kings Island.
Are there actually 5? Because I can think of Great Pumpkin Coaster. That's 1. Woodstock Express, right? That's the wooden, the little, yeah. Yep. So that's 2.
That's 2.
Here's Snoopy Soapbox. That's 3. Flying Ace Aerial Chase. That's 4. What's the 5th one?
Maybe the Surf Coaster, since
oh, yep, Surf Dog right back there. Yeah.
The Surf Dog, yep.
Okay.
That's cool.
So
that's really freaking cool.
It was
like, and I like that and I hope that they like really market like the crap out of the roller coaster capital of the world for kids, or I'm sorry, the kids capital of the world. Like that's freaking awesome.
Yeah. And then I have a few more stats here. Track length is 672 feet. However, the length traveled on the ride is 1,400 feet because you go through the circuit once forwards and once backwards. Yep. It will feature 1 train, and it will have a capacity of 20 riders per train.
I mean, obviously, the capacity is going to be but I'm sure it'll be quick. And I didn't see on the renderings if there was going to be any seatbelts. So if there's not going to be any seatbelt and it's just going to be a lap bar, I mean, you can get people in and out pretty quick.
The rendering does not show seatbelts. However, I would not be surprised if that changes, just due with this being a kids coaster and all. Yeah.
And then it's pretty cool seeing like all of the theming and stuff. Like it says like there's if you look at the station area, it says there's a starting line in red. There's like Snoopy with like a checkered flag and everything. So, and then it looks like there's some like theming and whatever on the top of the station, like where you wouldn't walk or whatever, maybe on the roof or something like that. But
yeah, I'm looking at that too.
Yeah, I think it looks really, really cool. And then, Flying Ace Serial Chase, if that's going to be still the name or whatever, it looks actually really, really good with those greens and the brown or the maroon with the sports and everything. Like, it looks really good.
I can't tell from the renderings if it's a brown or if it's like a maroon burgundy.
I think it's brown. I'm going to go with a brown and like a hunter green. It almost looks like when I got to go to California Great America, it almost looks like the colors that they chose for their Wild Mouse that I got to ride.
Okay.
So if anybody's curious, go take a peek at that and see if it almost looks, and it gives me like treetop, like hilly, like, I don't know.
Like a and like a real rustic and wilderness.
Yeah, thing. Yeah. But I mean, it gives also like, you're like camping. You're like the camping colors, I guess you could say. So, but I think that totally came out like we weren't expecting any coaster. I thought maybe like a flat ride, or you were thinking maybe, something to do with the theater show.
Yeah, I could have sworn it was either going to be like a Boo Blasters replacement or something in the water park because they got rid of that like Flow Rider in their water
Yeah,
park.
yeah. But this is super super last. Like I'm not mad about it.
Yeah. Speaking of water parks, the third announcement of the day, Canada's Wonderland announced a new family raft water slide. Well, I don't know if it's a family raft slide, but it's a raft slide. One of those big multi-raft slides. Coming in 2024, Moosehorn Falls. And then let me just read a little bit of an intro here. I'm going to apologize way ahead of time because the last two paragraphs of this have very hard words and I can't read too well. So I'm going to try my best.
I'm not going to lie. If anybody's like read along with whatever I've read, sometimes I skip the hard words.
Yeah. So, new slide coming to Splashworks will feature exciting drops and a zero gravity wall. Hold on tight for a wild raft adventure down Moosehorn Falls. This expedition will take up to 6 guests down a rushing river cascade of twists, turns, and drops before being propelled to the summit of a zero gravity 13 meter 42 foot wall. As rafters crest the vertical apex in a moment of weightlessness, the current will reverse and send them downstream to a crystal clear pool where their journey on this water slide ends with a breathtaking splash. Why is it called Moosehorn Falls? Moosehorn Falls is inspired by waterfalls on the Broad River along the Moosehorn Trail in Fundy National Park, New Brunswick, within the UNESCO designated Fundy Biosphere region. In Canada, there are 19 biosphere regions where people are working together to protect biodiversity, celebrate cultural heritage, build sustainable and thriving communities, and live in balance with nature. Moosehorn Trail is one of the 50 amazing places found within the Fundy Biosphere region. The trail name was inspired by the antler shape of the river rock sculpted over time through erosion by water and is home to the endangered inner bay of Fundy Atlantic salmon. So, we got a whole little history lesson there.
Wow.
I know.
I had no idea that was even a thing. And it sounds like what they were talking about at the end right there. Like, it sounds like that's like legit, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
This totally, like, I know like there's some people that come out with like rumors and predictions and stuff. I think this came out of like the left field of like the players that are playing next to you in the ball field. Like, I didn't see any of this on anyone's radar. I'm not sure if you heard anything.
I did not. I did not even know that they were going to be announcing today because obviously Dorney, having arguably the biggest of the three announcements, kind of was teasing theirs out a little bit. Kings Island announced like yesterday that they were announcing today, and Canada's Wonderland just kind of kept their mouth shut. They didn't really say anything.
Right. I mean, there's not a lot of concept art to go with. There's just kind of like one picture that you can see.
Yeah, there's only one picture, and there is a video. However, the video is like a 5-minute nature documentary, so it's nothing on the ride. We don't really have like a top height or a like top speed or like a rendering to go with.
Right. I mean, it says it's going to be 42 feet wall. It looks like, and this is just me like spitballing. It looks like you're going to probably start, obviously, like you'll probably maybe start like 30 feet high or something. And looking at the rendering, it looks like you come down a little wide path that you're going to gain speed down. And then you'll go down that path and you'll gain speed. And then you'll go up almost like a big like surf drop kind of watery something or whatever. I don't know if the wall, I guess you could say, the zero gravity wall. So you'll go up that. And you'll get some real, like I've done something similar to something like this, but not like it like had like a few turns and elements and things like that. This might have that. I mean,
as far as the zero gravity wall goes, there's a similar element at Volcano Bay.
Yeah.
So some of our listeners might be able to picture that one. It's the like Hanu Ikamona or something like that. The blue one.
I'm so bad with the names there, but yeah. So I think it might be almost like that. I don't know. It's a fun water slide.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun, So you're gonna go up probably like 40 some feet, like it said, on that wall, and then it looks like you're just gonna go right down into the pool and stuff. So not like a huge slide. It doesn't look like, but
Mm-hmm.
anything to cool you down in the summer, because it's. I mean.
Yeah. Regardless, it should still be a pretty fun addition. I know I've only been to Canada's Wonderland once, and I only had one day, so I did not do their splash works. But it looked like a pretty impressive water park, so I'm sure this will fit in great.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of their. I haven't done their water park or anything, but I'm a huge fan of like the things that they keep adding. Like they actually added, if anybody's curious on like if they've always wanted to do like cliff jumps.
Mm-hmm.
They actually built like a mountain like over by their water park, and the mountain, you literally jump off of the side of this mountain, and there's different ranges. Like there's I'm trying to see, there's one that's like 16 feet high, there's one that's 10 feet high, or there's one that's a crazy cliff jump which is 25 feet high.
Mm-hmm.
Which obviously you're jumping into a deep, deep, deep pool. But I've always, I did it once, and I was like so nervous because I'm always thinking in the back of my head, I'm like, I hope there's not like shallow rocks where I'm going to jump and I'm not going to like die or kill my feet or legs or something like that. But obviously this is going to be clear and stuff. So if anybody wants to check that out, it's really cool. But they've got a really, really cool, really cool additions for like their water park and stuff and everything there. So obviously, and also their flat rides too are really freaking sweet too. And then Kyle, this isn't in our notes or anything, but I know that Cedar Fair as a whole pretty much announced all their 2024 passes, and everything. So if you need to get your pass, you can go to your park website, Kings Island, Cedar Point, whatever, and go to there. They have the 2024 passes out. Looks like gold's going to be $99, at least for Cedar Point right now, until September 5th. I'm not sure on the other parks. I know that everything was just announced, and go check that out. There's gold. There's no platinum anymore, unless I think you're at Schlitterbahn, which is interesting. But there's just gold, and then there's prestige, and then if you want to just do those, you can do that. You can add the all park passport, which will pretty much get you all the benefits added on to whatever pass that you can get. Mm-hmm. And then you can visit other parks. So, and essentially you can buy $100 gold pass at, say, Cedar Point, add the passport on, and it's actually going to save you a few more bucks than if you were to buy the platinum pass, which is nice. Saving money is always nice. So
yeah, the all park passport, I believe they're calling it, is that it's a $150 add-on, I believe.
I don't know if it's like all around the board, like if it's all going to be like the actual like if Cedar Point's going to be adding, like obviously they'll have theirs.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if like the pricing is all around like the same thing as, everything else kind of thing.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely check out your home park and look at everything that you can get.
Yeah.
And it's good stuff. So speaking of good stuff, I'm going to say I get to visit Cedar Point.
Yeah.
This coming weekend.
Hopefully
tomorrow, actually. It's been, work's been crazy. I've been doing a lot, trying to catch up on sleep and stuff, just because last weekend I did a lot of things. I went to the Guardians game, which was probably a bad idea, instead of like sleeping or going to the park. And then after that, I went to SummerSlam, which was in Detroit. Anybody WWE fans out there got to go to that. And then after that, I was like, that's cool. Let's do something crazy again. And Sunday I went to Michigan International Speedway and got to watch the NASCAR race that didn't get done all the way because of rain.
I was going to say, the parts that happened, you got to watch, but it got rained out.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, so I'll be at the park tomorrow and everything. I'm super excited about it. I've been seeing some pictures and some updates and things like that. There's not a whole lot going around on Top Thrill 2 right now. It looks like maybe they're in a hold pattern. Maybe they're waiting on some more pieces to start building that tower. I'm not sure if they need to close Iron Dragon and start building that tower. I don't know what the ramifications are. I know the crane moved over by where you used to enter the ride and stuff, so I'm not sure if they're doing some heavy lifting there. They did add a fence around the tower. Now you can't see the bottom of the tower or anything, but other than that, that's about it. But definitely make sure you watch the page, and I will definitely update with some more pictures definitely tomorrow. So,
and I know that now that we're kind of caught up with news, we've caught up there. I know when we come back next week, Evan will obviously be able to tell us about his last 2 trips to Hershey Park, which is which is crazy to think about, but he's been twice now. You'll get to talk about your California trip, hopefully. Yeah, and I'll just
lots of good stuff. Let's just say that Six Flags, I'm not trying to bash them. I mean, if they ever want to come on the show, come on down. But let's just say that if you say you have 20 coasters and only half of them, or maybe like 15 of the 20 coasters are open, it's a kind of a downfall. Now, I know kind of gripe about Cedar Point and having their coasters closed or whatever, but honestly, Cedar Point's coasters aren't like closed. Like they might be closed mechanically and they'll open back up, within a few days, or they'll be closed for whatever reason or something. But like they're not like, I don't know, getting their lift inspected and getting a new chain and whatever. So this is going to be a very detailed response on the podcast. So definitely don't want to miss that.
I know
it is be a longer episode, but it'll be good.
I know I've been to almost all of the parks that you visited, except Six Flags Magic Mountain. And I mean, the real reason for that is because every time I know somebody that goes there, they talk about, the rides that were open were fun, but they weren't all open.
The rides that are open that are fun are great, but they're only running one train, which
I get to California like semi regularly just because it's a fun place to go to, and I have an aunt and uncle that live out there. But I mean, I don't go there all the time, so it's like, do I really want to gamble and roll the dice, or do I just want to go to one of these other parks that I know everything's going to be open? So I'm really excited to hear about what you thought.
I will say, anyone that is in the area or planning on visiting or wanting to visit, go visit California Great America. That was a really nice park. Very small, but it's really, really nice. Very clean, very organized, very not Six Flags. And everything was running. Everything had multiple trains running. I did find it very interesting, and I did actually tell this to Evan, that 2 of their coasters, I can't name them off the top of my head. I will do my research and have those coaster names next week. But they actually, in their station, they actually don't even have like a roof over the station, which was kind of interesting. So,
one of them is Patriot. That is their B&M floorless
Patriot
coaster.
And Vortex. That's
yes.
it. Yep.
Yeah.
So I was like, there's no station roof and it's like super sunny. Interesting. So it's just the little things that we take for granted. Definitely take a lot of Cedar Point. Like if something's down or something's not running all trains, holy crap, we need to be more thankful that Cedar Point and the parks around in our neck of the woods ish seem to care, and they seem to try to hit interval and do all that kind of fun stuff. So, but yeah, definitely look forward to next week and talking about it. So,
all right. Well, I think that's going to finish this out. Like we said, you have a whole lot to look forward to next week. Evan, if you're listening, because I know you are, we miss you. Hopefully you have fun or had fun, depending on where you're listening to this at, and we can make some of the drive go quicker. That's all I got. Have a good night, everyone.
I was going to say, I wish that I was able to listen to a podcast without myself when I was on my trip. But you know what? Make sure you subscribe and follow us and tell your friends. Thanks, guys.
That's going to do it. Take it away, Justin.
Thank you for listening to the Rundown on Fun. Be sure to follow us on social media to stay up to date on all things Cedar Fair. As always, be kind to your ride operators, and we will see you on the Midway. Good night.